Okay, Mark meets Adam Graham, CEO of Weapon 7 and Vice Chairman at Beamer. Hi Adam.
Hello.
Can you give us a quick summary of your career?
Okay, where to start? Okay, I'll start at the beginning. So I actually fell into advertising really. I was at Brunel University reading management and law, and I found management pretty much common sense and law very boring. So I sort of started just looking around on the internet, on the free internet connection that had recently been installed in my dorm room, and just fell in love with the internet. I thought, this is amazing. Completely, instantly got the future and the potential of it, and just spent all of my time teaching myself about the internet. So how does it work, how do websites work, how do servers work, and all that sort of thing. Taught myself how to make websites, and sort of started making a few websites to earn a few quid whilst at uni. And that became much more interesting to me, really.
Were you one of those geeky guys that stays in your dorm all the time building websites? No,
I certainly wasn't. No, I was just, instead of going to lectures, I was doing that. I was out every night and all the rest of it. But yeah, I sort of neglected my studies in favour of the internet, and it's worked out all right. But yeah, so left uni, founded one of the first internet, well, it was the first full-service music-on-demand internet radio station. It was a very long title, but basically it meant you could select what tracks you wanted to listen to when you wanted to listen to. We were the only people doing that at the time, back in '98, basically Spotify. So it was a bit too soon. People didn't have the bandwidth. It was completely unacceptable to listen to headphones plugged into your computer whilst at work, whereas nowadays it's commonplace. But we did okay. We were going for about 4 years. We were the first people to stream live music from Glastonbury in 2002. We got up to about 20,000 active users. We had white-labelled the service across various ISPs and portals, so you could get co-branded music streams on your different websites as a form of sticky content. So that was going fairly well, but ultimately it didn't work out. But by the same token, it entrenched my sort of love of the internet. So by this time I had an office in Brick Lane, back in sort of the early 2000s, about 2002, before Brick Lane was as sort of trendy as it is now. There was a thriving musical community there, so it was really cool. And I ran a small digital marketing agency called 3W Media, which specialised in youth marketing. Did a lot of stuff for the music industry, so EMI, Warner, Universal, all of their sort of e-cards, and microsites was a lot of the stuff that we did in those days. So I did a lot of work for the music industry, which once again I discovered the hard way is not a particularly viable business model because they don't have a lot of money. But we did lots of cool work. And around about the time that I discovered the hard way that this wasn't a viable business model, I sort of was getting married, just got a mortgage and stuff, thought I'd better get a job. So thought, well, what can I do? And I wasn't really sure because I've been running my own company since university, so I had a sort of broad range of skills. And I just got the first job that came to mind, which was project manager at Wonderman Interactive. Back in the days with Wonderman, Interactive was just a digital shop, and it was doing some really cool work. I worked with some really, really talented people. Joe Wilkinson, who's a famous comedian now, he was one of the art directors there, and loads of other people, John Williams, Simon Millership, creative directors. There's some really good people, Nick Stewart. I learned loads in a very short period of time. Then it merged, and it merged with HCW, the DM shop. And a lot of the people who I really sort of respected sort of left, and the digital credentials of the agency sort of went backwards a little bit. So I was less engaged, so I resigned. And I was going to take a job at AKQA. But at the same time, David and Simon were setting up Saint, and they'd just resigned from Rainey Kelly to set up Saint. And Rainey Kelly, Mark Rolfe actually persuaded them to stay and set up Saint within Rainey Kelly, so they were looking for someone else to come join them to help them set it up. And a business director who worked across both Wonderman and Rainey Kelly had recommended me to them. So we met. Turns out that we're all from Essex. In fact, we grew up a mile away from each other, so we've got loads of common friends and stuff. And I'd like to think it was based upon my experience and my skills, but I think it's probably the Essex connection that got me the gig. And so the three of us set up Saint. We got another planner involved called Joe Heath, and the four of us set up Saint. From 4 people in an office, we grew it to Agency of the Year twice last year. See, sort of 50 people, did some really, really good work. And very, very proud of what we did with Saint. Created a great culture and some really good work. but all good things come to an end, and last year we all left, and I was going to go and do a start-up with them called Hometown, and at the last minute I was sort of approached to become CEO of Weapon 7, and I decided that actually at this time in my life that was the right thing to do. So I've been here for about 9 months.
Cool, that was a very quick 5-minute summary of your career. What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you today?
In advertising or just in general?
No, in advertising.
It's tricky. I don't think. I'm sure there's loads. I can't think of anything really. I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay. I was really hoping like public speaking, you like stacked it or something. But
no. I've had loads of embarrassing moments in my life, but I can't think of anything professionally that's too bad.
What's the best bit of career advice you've been given?
When an agency has taught you everything you can learn, leave.
Okay, and who told you that?
I can't remember. I think I read it somewhere. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. If you could turn back time, what would you do differently in your career, if anything?
No, I mean I've done it all in a very unorthodox way, and you would never have planned to do it that way, but it seems to have worked out okay. So look forwards.
And if you could work for any agency on the planet,
yeah,
who would it be? That's
interesting. If you'd have asked me that 2 months ago, I would have said AKQA, because I almost went there, and there's always been a part of me that sort of always wanted to work there, and I was a bit gutted I never did it. But I'm not so sure now. Maybe, who knows? You know, I think they'll change now because of WPP. Not necessarily for the worse, but they will change. So I love a lot of the stuff they've been doing recently. I love LBI. I love a lot of the big techie sort of digital agencies who make stuff, not just comms, but sort of blurring the line between product and promotion, EcoDrive, Night Fuel Band, all that sort of stuff. That's the stuff that really gets me excited.
What's the best thing about agency life for you?
I think the people, the culture, the vibe. You know, we're very lucky that we've got a very relaxed environment. Everyone works hard but plays hard. We had someone come in last week who was doing a sort of a couple of weeks out of school to work here. Their uncle came in to thank me for giving her a sort of a placement. And he said, I've told her this isn't the real world. Proper jobs aren't like this, so just need to manage her expectations. And this isn't what working life is actually like. So I think we're very lucky, really.
Fine. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Loads of people. Top of my head.
Are there people in the industry or outside the industry?
Both. So, yeah, Brian Solis I was lucky enough to share stage with him a couple of months ago. He's a really sharp guy. Malcolm Gladwell writes a lot of good stuff. Ian Tate, I think, has had an interesting journey. I think it's really cool. Yet to meet him actually. I know the Nicks from Pope, but I haven't met Ian. So I think those sorts of guys.
How would you describe your strengths? What do you do? Because like you said, you come from an unorthodox kind of background to get to where you've got to today. Yeah. You started off designing, building websites. You kind of run a company. You've done some client servicing, some project management. But what do you actually do? How would you describe your?
So I suppose I'm classic jack of all trades. I think my biggest strength is I'm really good at running a company. I'm good at motivating a team of people. I've got a good strategic sort of instincts, but I'm not a planner. I've got a good creative eye, but I'm not a creative. Hopefully I'm fairly good with people. But I think my biggest strength is I could run a business. I reckon you could put me in a sweet shop and I'd make it fairly good. So
you should be on The Apprentice.
No, I can't stand it.
Fine, there must be a lot of people looking and get really frustrated, like why are you so good at everything? You've never really specialised or particularly excelled in any particular area. You've just got by and done well in everything you've done. I don't know if that's a question or if it's just a
I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, maybe I'm just jamming.
What are your interests outside of work?
Music, love music. I've used to DJ a bit. I've released a few records. Was on the Ministry of Sound album and stuff. So I love music production and sort of electronic music, all music. Photography, really into photography. I'd love to have time to play golf, but since the kids turned up, not so much nowadays. And just people. I love meeting people, just socialising.
Okay. If you weren't in this industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd love to have given a bit more attention to the music side of things. So when I was at Brick Lane, I met loads of cool producers and DJs and stuff, and so I released a few records. And it was always more than a hobby, but never a career, because I was a bit disillusioned with the music industry at the time. But subsequently, a lot of my friends are doing very well at Matt Schwartz, who's in Soho Studios downstairs, releases loads of good records. My friend James Reynolds is mixing most of the pop albums that are coming out at the moment. And electronic music, house music's influencing pop music quite heavily now. You know, pretty much all of the stuff has got really strong sort of house elements to it. So I think I'd have done a bit more of that.
Superstar DJ. What's the best brand you've worked on so far?
Well, when I was at Saint, Copperberg was cool. So it was a fairly small, it was a challenger brand, and what was great was we had the opportunity to sort of build that brand and keep it cool whilst it went mass. And we did a nice cross-section of work from, you know, TV ads to social media and events and all the rest of it. So actually loved working on Copperberg, and I've got to say, since I've joined here, Mercedes is pretty cool as well. We've done some great work with David Coulthard and The Catch, which is 2 million hits on YouTube now. So some really great brands there to work on.
And what's your favourite advertising campaign of all time?
Of all time, probably got to be Burn Back and The Beetle. You know, just changed everything.
When did you come across that campaign? How far into your career?
Well, when I fell into advertising, so I think when I was at Wonderman, I think actually one of the good things that Steve Harris did was he spent a lot of time sort of taking people through the sort of the heritage and the classics, and yeah, so it would be him.
How would you describe the creative industry in 3 words?
Egos, fun, and parties.
And what advice would you give to people looking to get into the industry today?
Be true to yourself. Yeah, always be yourself. Follow your instincts, and try and hang around with some smart and inspirational people.
Who's the best person you've recruited over the years?
The best person I've recruited over the years? That's difficult. Well, there's a few, you know. There's a few. Chris Jefford at Saint, who's now the strategy director at Hometown. Superstar. He's a one-man agency. He can do a bit of everything, so he's great. Paul O'Neill, the planner, who actually wrote the strategy for Fiat Eco Drive, who we pulled out of AKQA at Saint. He was an absolute legend as well. I'd love to work with him again. Loads of people.
Cool. Let's move on to a quick fire round.
God.
Can line or D&AD pencil?
Both.
Olympic gold medal or an Oscar?
Gold medal.
The brightest person you've worked with?
Mark Storm.
The most creative person you've worked with?
David and Simon.
The best looking person you've worked with?
Neither of those two, their heads are far too big. Oh, that's difficult. My wife would shoot me if I were a female, and then if I read off a male, that's
yeah.
Can't answer.
Safe, okay. Creatives or suits?
Creatives.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
Apple or Android?
Apple, but I do like Android as well.
Degree or no degree?
Well, either.
Art directors or copywriters?
Both.
Retained work or pitch work?
Retained work.
Web or mobile?
Both.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
They both have their merits. I've been a part of a network for the last 6 years now, so networks.
Outsourced production or on-site production?
Once again, both. I think you need people inside the agency who can affect the creative process, but you shouldn't necessarily be able to do everything in-house.
Don Draper or Roger Sterling?
I don't know, I don't watch it.
Oh, come on.
I know.
And lastly, twist or stick?
Always twist, unless you're on 21.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.